Ready.
It looks like we're connected, Darren.
Yes, sir. Well, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I see that you applied for our warehouse specialist job here in South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
And I take it you're from, let's see, Rhode Island?
Yes, sir, up in New England.
Oh, it must be pretty cold up there today, huh?
It's nicer than it's been. It's actually in the 60s today. Winter might finally be over.
All right. Just want to let you know I did review your resume. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Very orderly. And just got a few questions to basically ask you before we finalize your application and send it forward.
Ask away, sir.
Yes, sir. Let's see. First thing is pretty simple. Basically, why do you want this job? It is in South Carolina.
Well, like we were just talking about, the winters up here have been especially brutal the last couple of years. And it's no secret the weather's nicer down in South Carolina. It's a more affordable cost of living from everybody that I talk to. So the wife and I have talked about it. She's in a position where she can stay in the nursing field. I can find another position to supplement, and we can just not live with snow, hopefully.
Very good. Very good. How big is the family?
We have a 13-year-old son, a 70-year-old mother-in-law, and a 26-year-old son who may or may not be coming. So,
looking at your resume, that you're currently working at Staples.
Yes.
Right? Just going to throw a couple of questions about people skills, because do you work in the warehouse or in the front, or?
I work in the warehouse, and there's some limited contact with the front people. When they ask us to restock the shelves, put inventory back up front that's sold out.
Okay. Are you a supervisor or?
No, sir.
Regular guy?
Warehouse laborer.
Warehouse laborer, that's how I feel.
I do what they tell me. Happy to do it easy that way.
All right, let me ask you a question about how many people work with you as a warehouse laborer?
In our warehouse, on any given shift, there may be a dozen guys working in there, loading and unloading.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
But our warehouse serves a bunch of stores. We have a store connected, but our one warehouse is like a central distribution location.
Right,
so
okay.
Larger warehouse than the average store.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, let me throw you in a situation here. All right, you're working with your partners and you witness an unsafe or wrong act. How do you communicate that to the worker, to the friend, or to do something?
If I saw something and it seemed to be blatantly unsafe, against regulations, code, however you want to describe it, I think the first thing you have to try to do is to talk to the person themselves. You see it all the time. Hey, you shouldn't be driving it that way. Where's your hard hat? You're wearing sneakers? You should have steel toe shoes. Whatever the case may be, you just, as a friend and a coworker, you mention it to them. Hopefully, it doesn't need to escalate to supervisors, and they can somewhat pay attention. But I think the first pass should be to the employee themselves, the coworker, because otherwise there's that feeling of you went behind their back telling on them, sort of thing.
Yeah. So peer pressure first.
Absolutely.
Have to
try to get them to go with the
board. Okay. Being in the warehouse obviously deals with a lot of teamwork. One part depending on the other. Could you relate to me a situation that required a little bit more teamwork than usual, and how did you contribute to that task?
At one point when we were reorganizing how the warehouse was laid out, in other words, where individual items and certain categories of products were kept. So every individual was given certain tasks to run. My main task was moving pallets from one side of the warehouse to the other via a forklift, pallets of goods. But I had to coordinate carefully with the people on both ends of the warehouse. One, to make the destination shelf or destination location was cleared out, and then make sure that the sending location was stacked and ready to go. Because if I didn't, I'd be driving back and forth between ends of the warehouse with nothing on the forklift, just wasting time.
Right. That would be pretty bad.
That's honestly about the limit of my coordinating abilities that would be called on. But it's generally talking to your coworkers. Are you ready for me to do what I have to do, or can you please get ready so I can do what I'm required to do before my shift ends?
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Say it's towards the end of the day, and your task is not done. Do you continue to complete it, or do you wait till the next day, knowing it's going to be there and it's another day and no problem to do it because it's only going to take a few minutes?
In Rhode Island, and I understand that South Carolina has some very different labor laws than we have down here. I don't pretend to be overly familiar with the laws up here. But if I'm not going to finish the work that I'm supposed to finish before the end of my shift at 4 o'clock, I have to check with my supervisor. And then he or she, depending on who's on duty, will tell me, you can work later today, please. We're authorizing you to work and get paid overtime because they have to pay overtime if we work beyond our shift. Or they will tell me to just wait till the next day. Or if there's a second shift coming in at night, they may leave it for somebody else to do. But we're not given the permission to make that judgment for ourselves. If we work overtime without being authorized, anything, I think it's more than 12 and a half minutes, it's an odd number. But if we work that without getting authorization, they don't have to pay us because all overtime work has to be authorized.
Yep, I understand that. Good one. Last question, pretty much not really more of a interview question, but a general feeling question that this position is in South Carolina.
Yes.
And though that the position is not located in any specific area until you apply for the job and get the job, would it be too much of a burden depending on if it was outside the city or in the suburbs per se, or rural area, or do you have a general idea where you want to be?
Depending where the specific location may be, my wife working in healthcare, she has several options. There's a demand in South Carolina from the ads that we've seen. There's a number of positions available for nursing, and not that my life should always be subject to what I do for her, but it gives me the flexibility. So if there's an offer for me and it looks like a reasonable position, one that's worth keeping and taking, and it's within relative commute distance for the both of us, she hasn't taken a job yet. So, she would prefer to work closer to the city because generally the city hospitals tend to have higher pay scales than the less urban centers. But it's not a make or break type of situation.
All right. Well, I just want to let you know that, most of our areas are in large metropolitan areas. So you won't be out in the boonies if you're applying for this job.
As long as I have access to some of the Carolina barbecue, that's really all that matters.
You can find out on any street corner. Just be careful what street. Okay.
Yeah, give me the vinegar.
Well, that's all I really have question-wise. And I don't know. I know it was a fast interview, but generally looking at your resume, you do have a lot of experience in the warehouse. You do have an idea of how to catalog and inventory and inspect items. And you do have training on forklifts and pallet jack equipment, which is a plus in our environment. Basically, also dealing with other commercial entities, UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service is also good. So
yeah, a little bit of shipping in the past, which kind of goes the guys in the warehouse ought to know how to get the stuff on and off the trucks. In general, that's the idea. But
yes, definitely, and that's pretty good. That's one of a lot of things we look for is this is basically an entry level job, but
understood.
And that the pay is kind of not very high, but it is a easy state to live in, and therefore I think you'd fit in pretty well. But like I said, I will put up your marks for this interview, and I will send them forward. And good luck.
I appreciate that. Can you tell me, Darren, just one question? Are you looking to fill a first shift or a second shift position? Nights or even third shift?
I do apologize. We did not put down the application, but all our shifts are basically 7:30 to 1700, which is 5 p.m. your time.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Just so I know, can work schedules with my wife.
And weekends are once in a lifetime. We do have inclement weather sometimes, and we might call in, but it'll be on pay basis, time and a half to work the warehouse to move product out for emergency services, whether it's gravel, sand, or salt or something like that.
Yeah, I'd be working for the state, so you're responsible to whatever happens. So understood.
Yes, sir. But we don't get very much snow in South Carolina, so.
Well, hopefully that's the whole point of moving.
Right. So that's all I have.
I appreciate your time. When might I expect to hear from you?
After usually the application process, after I get done with this interview, I do box it all up, wrap it all up, and send it to the supervisor, and they will take a look at all the applicants that have made it that far, and it should be within 1 to 2 days, and they will contact you with your phone number or email address that you have provided, and you usually will have like 2 to 3 days to respond. These are not positions that fill in 30 seconds. These will take time. But we do allow a long response time, up to a week to maybe 2 weeks, depending on the situation.
Excellent. I appreciate the time, and I hope I hear from you, Mr. Evers.
Yes, sir. I hope to hear a lot more from you, too.
You have a great day, sir.
You too, sir.
Bye.